For the Reading Symphony Orchestra, I'm Dennis O'Hara, and I'm pleased to be joined this morning by Maestro George Ogata, the music director and conductor of the Reading Symphony for the past 10 years. Welcome, George.
Thank you very much for hosting this. I really appreciate that, Dennis.
Now, many people don't know that this is actually the 90th year of the Reading Symphony Orchestra and making music available to the people of the North Shore of Boston. And so I wanted to talk to you about how you went about choosing the pieces for this season and also how people can find out more and get tickets for the upcoming shows.
Sure. This is as you mentioned, this is the 90th anniversary season of the orchestra. So it's a very, very special year. I've been looking forward to it for many years. And we actually, the orchestra started in 1931. There were a couple years where we were not able to come together as an orchestra, for example, during one of the world wars, and also COVID happened. But this technically is the 90th season of the orchestra. We started in 1931, and I am the seventh music director of the orchestra. So I'm very proud to be able to be a part of this.
The orchestra is made up like talk to me about how the orchestra is comprised, where the musicians come from,
Yep.
and the types of experience that they've had.
So this is an orchestra that is composed of members generally from the greater Boston area. That being said, there are people from New Hampshire, even one cellist that travels every week from Connecticut because she really loves being in this particular orchestra. So we have people from all over the area. We have people of varying experiences, right? So there are people who, took private lessons as a youth and were in their respective youth orchestra or college orchestra, and they've decided that they want to continue their musical experience with this particular orchestra. Um, at the other end of the spectrum, we have people who are graduates of music school who are very, very experienced and who have chosen this orchestra as well as being a really fine and exemplary outlet of music making.
So the normal repertoire is three concerts per year, one in the
Right.
winter, fall, and then one in
Fall.
the winter, and then one in the spring. And so this year we have three concerts coming up that are a little bit diverse in their focus. So let's start off talking about the American Rhapsody, which is I'm sorry, the From the New World is the title of the very first concert, which is going to be on November the 10th at
Right.
the Galvin Middle School in Wakefield.
So just to orient everybody, yes, we do have three concerts a year. The first two are kind of your typical symphony format. And then the last concert is a pops concert experience. And so that is going to be focused on a particular fun theme that we like to explore with our community.
Mhm.
We call these concert experiences because we consider them not to just be your typical concert where you just come and politely listen to music, but rather it's an event to be experienced. We want you to come away not only with a memory, a great memory, but also a deep felt feeling of exhilaration and enlightenment, so that this becomes hopefully a part of who you are. The first concert experience is entitled "From the New World," and that's it's titled that way because of the main highlight of the entire, well, they're all highlights, but the main highlight or the centerpiece of the concert experience, which is Dvorak's Symphony Number 9, subtitled From the New World. It's perhaps his most famous piece and most beloved piece. It was written in response to his visit from Czechoslovakia to the United States. For a while, he resided in New York. He was a director of a conservatory there, and he did even vacation in, of all places, Iowa. So he got to really know and understand and appreciate the soul of America, so that and in so being inspired by this culture, he composed his Ninth Symphony, and you'll hear some the influences from spirituals in this particular symphony, um, and just kind of a flavor that you can say, oh, that feels slightly American. So that's at the very end of our concert. And now, bookending the concert experience at the very beginning is Dochnani's American Rhapsody.
Mhm.
Dochnani was a Hungarian composer and a romantic one, but he lived into the mid 1900s. And this is his last piece he ever composed. And guess what? He actually moved to Tallahassee, Florida, and taught there. And the reason why I chose this piece is that this is another classical composition where we have a foreigner's take, an European take, much like Dvorak was a foreigner. This is now Dochnani's take on what he sees as the American culture, the American impact, all consolidated into this piece of music. And so I thought it would be a kind of interesting contrast to have those two foreign composers, European composers, bookending the concert experience. And sandwiched in between, we have the Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto Number one of my favorite concerti. I've conducted this concerto many times, and we have the cellist Aaron Zelkovitz, who is just a powerhouse of a cellist. He is he's a local cellist, and he is in many of the great orchestras around here. And we are fortunate that he is going to be coming to work with us so that we can learn from him, be inspired by him, and he'll be giving all of you an opportunity to hear how beautiful and how emotional a cello can really sound. So that's the first concert in a nutshell.
Wonderful. And again, that's Sunday, November the 10th at 3:30, and we'll be at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium at the Galvin Middle School in Wakefield, which kind of underscores one of the points that we've discussed privately, and that's that we're called the Reading Symphony Orchestra, but we sort of serve the region. It's not just concentrated under one town, and we have diverse audience from different areas of town, and we perform in not just in Reading, but also in different venues that are accessible to the public. So wanted
You
to
bet.
highlight that.
Yeah. And that's a very, I'm really glad that you brought that up. Although we're known as the Reading Symphony Orchestra, we're here for all of Massachusetts, all of the United States, and the entire world, if you want to put it that way. So we're here to serve the people around here in terms of providing them a musical experience that they will carry with them. So we do, as you mentioned, we do perform in Wakefield. We actually rehearse in Wakefield, and but we also perform in Reading. We've performed in Wilmington, and of course, we're open to other venues in the local area in the future.
Excellent. Right. Now, starting the winter concert. That will be the day before St. Patrick's Day, March 16th, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. And this will be at the Enslow Performing Arts Center at Reading High School. And that focuses on symphonic colors. Let's talk a little bit about the pieces on that show performance.
Sure. So, by the way, I'm glad we're talking about this, because one of the reasons why I wanted to make this season special is to really feature um, the classic war horses of the repertoire, these pieces that are absolutely beloved. For example, Dvorak's Symphony Number 9 from the New World, right? And in contrast, we have a work that's featured on our second concert experience called Symphonic Colors. It's Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition, and Mussorgsky was a Russian composer. This piece actually was originally composed on piano, and it was a depiction of an art exhibition by a friend of his named Hartmann,
Hmm.
and it's his impressions of the paintings that were at this exhibition. So effectively, consider this as a virtual tour of the area that or the building that housed these particular paintings. And so he's going from painting to painting, and through the colors of music is able to capture the moods of each particular painting.
Hmm.
He originally composed this on piano. It was the Impressionist composer Maurice Ravel, the French composer, who was inspired by this piece, took it and orchestrated it. And this is the kind of there are other orchestrations, but this is the most famous orchestration that's available. It's absolutely colorful in its depictions of what Mussorgsky was just trying to do on a piano. Basically, think of it as taking a 2D photo, like a piano work, and making it 3D, expanding it to the different kinds of colors each member of the orchestra can create.
Hmm.
Paired with that is the Martucci Symphony Number One. I would say that probably 99% of the population has never heard of Martucci. Giuseppe Martucci was an Italian composer that lived in the 19th century and lived a little into the 20th century. And he was whereas most Italian composers were largely focusing on opera or operatic works as a means to be financially viable, Martucci took a completely iconoclastic approach and said, nope, my focus is instrumental. So he wrote for the piano, he wrote for chamber ensembles, and also, of course, for the symphony orchestra. I encountered Martucci's Symphony Number One probably back in the '90s when I went to Tower Records at the time and found a whole CD, and I thought, what is this? And the moment I heard it on my CD player from the very first note with this dramatic opening, I was hooked. And Toscanini, the Arturo Toscanini, the great conductor of the 20th century, he was a champion of Martucci's works as well, and so he saw something in that in his works. So I want to bring this to the community here, and I'm pairing it with Mussorgsky because Martucci himself, he's a very colorful composer.
Yeah.
So that's the second concert.
Excellent. Right. And again, it's March 16th at 3:30 and will be at the Reading Memorial High School. So thank you for talking about that.
Yeah.
And the third concert of the season is called The American Experience and is scheduled for May 31st, which is a Saturday in the evening at 7:30 p.m. Back at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium at the Galvin Middle School in Wakefield. So this sounds like a very interesting, fun concert. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so first of all, you'll note that the first concert experience I talked about, which is from the New World, in itself is an American theme. So I thought it would be a nice thread to start with an American theme, kind of more of the traditional uh, uh, serious classical music mode. It's not really serious. It's profound, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then have on the other end to conclude the entire season with another program where we focus on American pop music.
Mhm.
And uh, and in this way, I just wanted to, say that this is the 90th season where where it creates this kind of patriotic theme throughout the entire season, so that it feels very celebratory. And this one focuses on a whole bunch of pieces that are related to Americana,
Mhm.
and some of them are uh, inspired by American themes. Some are actually, really truly related to our the songs that we sing, the patriotic songs that we sing as Americans. So we have works like John Williams, the great film composer. We have his Cowboys Overture that almost sounds that like Copeland could have written it. We have an arrangement of America the Beautiful. We have this thing called American Fantasia, just like the American Rhapsody by Dohnanyi, but this is by Herbert, and it's kind of a mishmash of different songs that we affiliate with America. We wouldn't be able to escape an American themed um, concert without the works of Copeland, Aaron Copland, an iconic American composer. And so we're going to do his variations on a shaker melody. And for those of you who are really a true Copeland aficionados, you'll note that this is the same theme that he used in his ballet suite, Appalachian Spring. And so it's a very grand and moving part. We have another American composer named Morton Gould. He has an a piece called American Salute. And finally, just to rouse everybody at the very end, we're going to do the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Mhm.
So all American themed, and I hope that people will enjoy that concert experience.
Yeah, very, very accessible pieces of music. So, and that one's interesting because it's on a Saturday night, which is a sort of a departure from our usual Sunday afternoon schedules.
Thank you for clarifying that. So I just yes. So please make sure you don't come on that on the following day, but rather that's Saturday night.
Right. Okay. Well, great. So that is the 90th season, and so we'll start talking about where we go from there for the 91st season and we and beyond. But before we wrap up, I just want to talk a little bit about the audience. And now I admittedly have only been to one Reading Symphony concert, but what struck me is that you have many people, not you, but many people have an idea of the symphony audience member in their head of, sort of a well-to-do, middle-aged to elderly, you know, white person, quite
Mhm.
frankly. And our audience, what struck me about our audience was the diversity. I mean, yeah, the typical symphony folks were there, but I mean, we saw people from, I mean, groups of high school kids just not being drugged there by their parents, but
Mhm.
hanging out in groups, just walking around, finding seats
Yeah.
together, and people in their 20s, 30s of all different races and ethnicities, and it's just it was an interesting audience makeup for what people consider, a classical concert. So, yeah, talk a little bit about the audience for the Reading Symphony.
So I just want to make sure that everyone who's watching this knows that symphony concerts are for everybody. And especially the Reading Symphony Orchestra's concert experiences, they are designed for you. And for example, one of my responsibilities as a conductor for the concert is to make sure to welcome all of you, to fill you in on some details and some helpful background as to what to listen for in a particular piece. So I'll be talking to the audience. It's not something where you have to just sit there and just turn listen attentively. It's more like what am I going to experience. And that's the question I want people to come to this concert. And Um, Throw away those notions that, things are stuffy. The reason why I personally think that attending a symphony orchestra concert is the most thrilling human experience possible is because I know that I'm going to come into an opportunity to watch a whole bunch of different people um, who who have studied their craft individually many years. If you add up the number of years on in a that the people have practiced and studied their instrument in a particular orchestra that may be from 50 to 100 people, it's over 1,000 years. And think about that the wealth of diverse perspectives that are collected on a particular stage, and now they're working in concert with one another. They have to align with one another. And the fact that they are aligning under a single vision is such a miracle. And so that whenever I go to a symphony orchestra concert, for me, it's kind of like going to a baseball game because I get to see my heroes on the stage, and sometimes they have shining moments, like maybe the principal trumpet steps onto the plate to deliver a famous solo in a particular work. I want to know what he's going to say. Or the cello section has a whole bunch of there's this one moment in a particular symphony where they have the statement. I want to know how it comes across in their interpretation.
Mhm.
And so it's just thrilling to see what's going to happen next, and what am I going to take home after the concert experience. So to everybody out there, come, all types of people, you have something to gain and learn and appreciate in a symphony orchestra concert. Think of it as an experience to broaden your scope of what life is about and your perspectives.
Wonderful. Well, Maestro Ogata, I appreciate your time today. And for more information on the Reading Symphony Orchestra's 90th season and to find out how you can get your tickets for the upcoming shows, visit www.readingsymphonyorchestra.org. And we will see you at the concerts.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, everybody.